Hello, my name is Lindsay, and thank you for viewing my presentation. Today, we'll examine image repair theory and explain how it was used by Domino's Pizza when their brand was damaged by an employee-created YouTube video. First, we'll review image repair theory and then discuss the event that led to Domino's implementing this theory. Next, we'll apply what we've learned about image repair theory to the Domino's example. And finally, end with recommendations for other organizations based on the example. The goal of this presentation is to develop an understanding of theory through analyzing a company crisis that originated and escalated in social media, in this case, YouTube. Before diving into image repair theory, we must first define and understand what a company's image is. So, what's an image? According to William Benoit, the theorist behind image repair theory, an image refers to a subjective impression of a business held by other people. People's impressions are formed through the words and deeds of an organization, their own experiences with that organization, and from what other people say about that organization. So for example, one could argue that Chili's has a positive image because it supports St. Jude Children's Research Hospital through its Build a Pepper campaign. This example reflects my personal perception of Chili's based on my experience with the brand and the restaurant's philanthropic efforts, which appeal to me. Your view of Chili's may differ from mine based on your own experiences and opinions. Because a company's image is subjective, it can easily change through the views of the public. When an event occurs that changes the public's view toward the company in a negative way, that company must understand how to respond to protect its brand reputation. So when a crisis situation occurs, it's important for an organization to implement strategies that will mitigate damage to its reputation and image. This is where image repair theory really comes into play. William Benoit developed image repair theory to aid organizations in responding to crises that pose a threat to its business or brand image. In order to determine if this theory can be applied to a crisis situation, we must first understand the nature of the accusations or attacks being made. An event that can be considered damaging to a company's image must consist of two core elements. First, an offensive act has occurred, and second, the accused is responsible for that act. For an organization to find the need to respond to an attack on their image, there must first be a situation in which a company's image is undesirably affected through a negative act. The second element is that the accused must be deemed responsible by the public for the offensive action. With these two elements in place, image repair theory can be utilized to handle crisis situations. Image repair theory focuses on message strategies or options when responding to a crisis. There are 5 broad categories within image repair theory known as image restoration strategies. These include denial, evasion of responsibility, reducing the offensiveness of the event, corrective action, and mortification. First, let's look at denial. Denial has 2 forms, simple denial and shift of blame. When responding to an image threat, a company may deny that any wrongdoing took place, which is considered simple denial. Shift of blame is different from simple denial because it requires an organization to admit that some wrongful act occurred, but it denies that it is responsible and shifts blame onto another person or organization. The second strategy is evasion of responsibility, which has 4 subcategories: provocation, defeasibility, accident, and good intentions. Provocation is utilized when an organization responds to an act of another entity. This method claims the negative event only happened in response to something else. Because the original intention wasn't negative, the overall event is less damaging to the company. Defeasibility claims that not enough information or ability existed in the situation. It claims that the company cannot be held responsible because it lacked information or the ability to do something about the event. Accident is just what it appears to be, an accident or mishap that was beyond the control of an organization. And finally, good intentions rely on an organization stressing that its actions were intended in the best possible way. By claiming a company was trying to do something positive, the fact that the actual outcome was negative is a little less damaging to the brand. The third and most frequently used image restoration strategy is reducing the offensiveness of the event. This strategy consists of 6 subcategories, all aimed at trying to reduce the offensiveness of the situation perceived by the public. The first subcategory is bolstering, which seeks to strengthen a public's positive feelings toward a company, usually by describing positive characteristics of the company or positive acts done by the company. The second subcategory is to minimize the negative feelings associated with the incident by attempting to downplay the severity of the event. A third option is to employ differentiation, which seeks to distinguish an event from other similar events in order to make it seem less offensive than similar negative instances. Fourth is what is known as transcendence, which attempts to change the context of an incident to position it in a more favorable light, such as claiming that benefits of an event outweigh the reasons it's seen as negative. Fifth is to attack the accuser. By painting the accuser of a company's negative actions in a negative way themselves, the credibility of the original attack can be offset. The final subcategory for reducing the offensiveness of an event is compensation. If the victim of the negative event is accepting of compensation and the public deems the compensation acceptable, then the company's image should benefit. Another strategy is corrective action. In this strategy, a company plans to solve its own wrongdoing. The two approaches for accomplishing this can be to restore things to the way it was before an incident and/or promising the public to prevent a similar act from occurring again. The final image restoration strategy is known as mortification, in which a company confesses to its wrongdoing and begs the public for forgiveness. This is the simplest approach, but the company's willingness to admit its fault may lend itself to potential lawsuits from victims of the event. According to Benwashian research, and as I stated before, the strategies that fall under reducing offensiveness of the event are used most frequently by organizations. Here, we can see a comparison of the frequency each image restoration strategy is used. An important step for companies seeking to employ image restoration strategies is to identify their most important publics and prioritize whom to respond to first, as well as designate a proper spokesperson. Now that we have a basic understanding of the principles that make up image repair theory, we can utilize it to analyze a crisis situation that occurred when 2 Domino's employees posted a YouTube video that depicted them tampering with ingredients and performing offensive acts to the food that was to be delivered and consumed by a customer. In 2009, 2 Domino's employees, Christy Hammonds and Michael Setzer, posted a video of tampering with ingredients on YouTube. According to an article in the New York Times, the video had been viewed more than 1 million times on YouTube within 4 days, and conversations surrounding the video had quickly spread to Twitter. The video had become viral, originating in social media and then making the jump to mainstream media. The situation quickly turned into a crisis that required a response from Domino's because its reputation and image were at stake. To better understand the seriousness of this crisis and illustrate the offensiveness of the employees' actions, let's take a look at a short clip of this employee-created video.
This is Michael's special Italian sandwich.
And on the sandwich it goes. We all have our secret ingredients. Yeah. See? Now he just farted on the salami that goes on these sandwiches. And in about 5 minutes they'll be sent out on delivery where somebody will be eating these. Yes, eating them. And little did they know that cheese was in his nose and that there was some lethal gas that ended up on their salami. Now here's Michael. Cutting somebody's cheese stick. Look at that big book. So they'll never know that there's snot on it. Booger bread. Our manager is unaware of what we are doing at the moment. She is back in the back, reading a newspaper, like always. While we're up here clowning around, putting snot in people's food.
You better not ever let this tape out.
There we go. Now it's ready to be shipped to some unlucky customer. Yes.
Based on this video, we can determine that image repair theory will apply because 1, an offensive act has occurred, and 2, Domino's is responsible for that act. As a result of this video, Domino's image was compromised in the minds of their customers, and because the video depicted the mistreated food as something that would be served to a consumer, the Domino's Pizza customer became an important public to address regarding the situation. Looking at an analysis of Domino's response efforts, Richard Levick, who's the president of PR firm Levick Strategic Communications, said he'd give Domino's an F for the first 24 hours and an A or A+ for everything thereafter. Levick's grading of Domino's response refers to the fact that the video was posted on a Monday, Domino's learned about it on a Tuesday, but did not respond in any way until Wednesday. The company did not respond aggressively upon learning about the situation and forced the public to wait the first 24 hours with no response from the company. By Wednesday, Domino's had started a Twitter account to address comments and questions coming from that source, as well as shut down the store. They also went to their demographic and apologized, and by the end of the day responded with 2 YouTube videos of their own. The first was a message from Patrick Doyle, the president of Domino's USA, and the second message was from Don Mej, CEO of Domino's Enterprises Limited in Australia. These videos consisted of a deliberate message to their public. In this case, Domino's identified the consumers as their most important public, likely because the food directly affected consumers negatively because it was their food that was being tampered with. To understand how Domino's utilized strategies of image repair theory in their response videos, we'll break down the response from President of Domino's USA and analyze the strategies utilized, and then break down and analyze the second video response from Domino's Enterprises CEO. Let's take a look at the first video.
Hello, I'm Patrick Doyle, President of Domino's USA. Recently, we discovered a video of 2 Domino's team members who thought that their acts would be a funny YouTube hoax. We sincerely apologize for this incident. We thank members of the online community who quickly alerted us and allowed us to take immediate action. Although the individuals in question claim it's a hoax, we are taking this incredibly seriously.
By beginning with an apology, Patrick Doyle is already employing mortification. He moves into discussing that even though the offending individuals have claimed the incident was a hoax, they are taking it very seriously. This is important in establishing to their public that they are Domino's priority and that they are taking the situation seriously.
This was an isolated incident in Conover, North Carolina. The 2 team members have been dismissed, and there are felony warrants out for their arrest.
Here, Doyle makes it clear that this is an isolated incident, which is a form of shifting blame under the denial category. He goes on to say that the offending team members have been dismissed and there are warrants out for their arrest. This is a utilization of bolstering to improve stakeholders' feelings toward Domino's because it demonstrates that the appropriate legal action is being pursued by the organization and that the employees aren't going to get away with their actions. The dismissal of the 2 employees could also be considered corrective action because the company is removing the culprits and ensuring that the pair is prevented from preparing food for Domino's customers.
The store has been shut down and sanitized from top to bottom. There is nothing more important or sacred to us than our customers' trust. We're re-examining all of our hiring practices to make sure that people like this don't make it into our stores. We have auditors across the country in our stores every day of the week, making sure that our stores are as clean as they can possibly be and that we're delivering high-quality food to our customers day in and day out.
In that section, Doyle stated that the tainted store had been sanitized from top to bottom, and it goes on to discuss the reevaluation of their hiring process and auditing process that they employ. Here, he is illustrating the corrective action Domino's is taking to ensure that this never happens again. In that section, he is using corrective action as a preventative measure.
The independent owner of that store is reeling from the damage that this has caused, and it's not a surprise that this has caused a lot of damage to our brand. It sickens me that the actions of 2 individuals could impact our great system, where 125,000 men and women work for local business owners around the U.S. and more than 60 countries around the world. We take tremendous pride in crafting delicious food that they deliver to you every day. There are so many people who've come forward with messages of support for us, and we want to thank you for hanging in there with us as we work to regain your trust. Thank you.
In the last part of the video, Doyle utilizes bolstering again by assuring stakeholders that the entire Domino's organization is sickened by the event that has occurred. By showing the public that the organization feels the same way they do about the situation, the negative feelings toward the company are lessened. Patrick Doyle's message was an effective response to the crisis situation because it utilized multiple categories of Benoit's image restoration strategies. By identifying not just one strategy, but several, Domino's was able to apologize, shift blame away from the company, ensure that things were being done to fix the problem, and improve the overall feelings toward the company compared to the initial viral buzz. Next, we'll move on to the video of Don Mej, CEO of Domino's Enterprises in Australia. His approach is very professional, which is slightly different from Doyle's more down-to-earth method, but it carried much of the same underlying message. So let's take a look at this video.
At Domino's Pizza, we take food safety and customer safety very seriously. We are recently aware of some publicity we've received from a posting of a video on YouTube by two former employees of Domino's in the US. I would like to highlight that this is an isolated incident in one store in the US and does not in any way reflect on the actions of Domino's Pizza team members in Australia and New Zealand when it comes to product quality, food hygiene and food safety.
Mej immediately employs the strategy of shifting blame by explaining that the incident was isolated in the US. In this way, the entire Domino's organization is not to blame, but rather only one specific location.
But while I do have your attention, I'd like to talk to you about some of the initiatives that are taking place of Domino's Pizza here in Australia and New Zealand. For a while now, we've been gathering information from customers about some of the things that they'd like to see from Domino's Pizza. Based on this, we've rolled out a number of actions. In November 2008, we took the opportunity to close all of our stores in the afternoon on one Saturday for an hour so that we could roll out a number of initiatives that would improve some of the things that we're doing at Domino's Pizza.
Here, he discussed the great things that Domino's has already been doing to ensure the best quality goods for their consumers. This is a clear use of bolstering because Mej is attempting to offset current negative feelings by refocusing on the good improvements Domino's already has to implement.
A couple of those initiatives included that we now have mandated that all Domino's team members need to wear hairnets when they're in one of our stores. This is not a requirement by the food departments in all of the states and territories of Australia or the regions of New Zealand, but we wanted to send a message by setting a higher standard.
In this section, even though the incident occurred in the US, Mej moves a step forward in employing corrective action. He explains that even though Domino's already meets the food department requirements, they care so much about their customers that they are going to send a message by setting a higher standard.
We've also rolled out new rubber gloves to be worn by our team members when preparing products. We've always had a policy of washing our hands and sanitising, but now we've gone the extra step where we expect that we should be washing our hands, sanitising, and then also wearing rubber gloves when preparing food. Once again, an extra step that is not required, but we wanted to send a message of the high standards that we expect at Domino's Pizza.
Mej continues to explain that in addition to requiring hairnets, employees must also wear gloves where they were previously only required to wash and sanitize their hands. This is another example of corrective action.
Another step that we took is that we actually rolled out new recipes for our pizzas. These recipes, on average, have more topping on our pizzas so that we can consistently make a better pizza for you, our customers. This journey continued into February this year, where for the first time in our history, we rolled out 15 new products based on the feedback that we've been receiving from you. Some of the changes with these new products included more choice, because we understand that pizza is a meal that is shared by families at a dinner table, by friends, and that there needs to be more choices at that dinner table. So therefore, we've rolled out new fresh made-to-order pastas. We've rolled out 3 new pizzas, with some new extra high quality ingredients on those pizzas. We've rolled out a new extended drink range. We've rolled out a new fresh made to order chocolate lava cake, which is actually made every single time from our own chocolate mix when you place your order. And we also rolled out some new birch and weight dressings so you can dip your chicken products and your bread products. These 15 products are just some of the things that are taking place with our new choices and our new change that we're going to continue to do over the coming years at Domino's Pizza. On top of this, we've had a program where we're continuing to wanting to improve our existing pizza. So already when you're buying your Domino's pizza right now, you've noticed that we've gone to a new premium packaging. This packaging helps to deliver our product in a better way to you, our customers. On top of that, we're actually working on a program of increasing the quality of our toppings. So in the coming months, you're going to notice that our chicken has improved, you're going to notice that our beef has improved, and that our bacon has improved, and so on. So hopefully, as you buy our Domino's pizza, you're going to see all of these changes with more choice, better quality, and some increased standards that go beyond what is expected in our industry.
Here, he discussed the way Domino's has been reaching out and listening to its customers and what they're doing to make their customers' experience even better. This would fall under the bolstering category because it paints Domino's in a more positive light as a company that cares about the satisfaction of its customers.
So let me highlight that the incident that recently happened in the US is isolated to one store in the US and does not in any way reflect the actions of team members of Domino's Pizza in Australia and New Zealand when it comes to food safety, hygiene and product quality. Thank you for your continued support of Domino's Pizza, and I hope that you get to enjoy these great benefits and you continue to give us feedback on what else you think we could improve in the years to come. Thank you.
To sum everything up, Mej evaluates the originating situation again. He finishes by shifting the blame away from Domino's as a whole and explaining that this was an isolated incident at one store and establishes firmly that Domino's believes in safety and sanitation when it comes to preparing its food. I would say Domino's did an excellent job overall employing image restoration strategies to respond to its crisis. With the exception of allowing the first 24 hours to go by with no communication to the public, Domino's moved swiftly in creating a Twitter account and utilizing YouTube, the same media where the crisis started, to communicate their message and reach the affected publics. Domino's was able to identify that in this crisis situation, the most important stakeholders were its customers. Their customers were directly affected by the video due to its depiction of employees tampering with the product that goes directly out to the consumer. So by identifying this and moving to communicate through YouTube and Twitter, Domino's brought the response to their stakeholders in the same way their stakeholders learned about the negative situation in the first place. Domino's response videos were an effective way to communicate with their public, and by utilizing multiple strategies of image repair theory, they were better able to improve the company's image in the eyes of its stakeholders. The example of Domino's YouTube video crisis is a prime example of how image repair theory, when utilized correctly, can be a powerful tool to help lessen damage to a company's image. As seen in this example, because social media is so largely accessible to the masses, the potential for crisis through websites like YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter, it's always there, but being prepared with a crisis plan based on theory can help an organization react quickly. For example, if Domino's had a plan in place prior to the incident, the response would have followed immediately rather than several days after, therefore lessening the damage to its image. Another key takeaway from this example is the importance of having someone to serve as a spokesperson who is reliable and a trustworthy source that can convey the position of the organization. Domino's used its president and CEO, which further demonstrated that the company is taking the crisis seriously. Overall, having a plan in place and correctly utilizing image restoration strategies is crucial to successfully mitigate damage to an organization's image during a crisis.